What is up, y'all? Will here with Schedulefly, and this is the Restaurant Owners Uncorked podcast, brought to you by Schedulefly, super simple, web-based restaurant employee scheduling software backed by legendary customer service and all at a low price point. We haven't raised our prices in 18 years. Can you believe it? If you're on pencil and paper,
I'm not a finance guy, but I got to tell you, it seems like there should be some raising of prices.
It's already started, guys. There's no way I'm going to get through this thing without these guys. If that sound thing comes on.
Which one?
The whole box. Yeah, there it is. If you are on pencil and paper or Excel for your schedule, for your restaurant, and you have a headache with communicating with your staff because they want to give up shifts because they need a me day every 5 minutes, check out Schedulefly. Schedulefly.com, 30-day free trial, and you will make life a lot easier for you and your team. Also, if you are on a competitor's software, let's see here. Well, we could say 7 shifts, Hot Schedules, Sling, R365, and lots of other ones. Venture-backed, or maybe they're publicly traded, or maybe private equity owns them, and they're expensive, and they got a lot of stuff in there. If you're happy, cool. But if you just want something simple and clean, check out Schedulefly.com. My personal cell phone, this flip phone, the number's right there on the website on 3 pages. Call me, text me. As long as I'm not doing a podcast, I'll answer, and we'll talk. Okay, so this is the first episode recorded of nearly 600 of these episodes that I've done. The first one recorded in the most famous podcast studio on the planet. Flew up here for this today. Branded Hospitality, home of Hospitality Hangout. It is literally the number one podcast in the world. They double Joe Rogan's volume of listens.
It's all true.
Basically, if you haven't listened to it, you're a moron. And I got to record here today with the sound freaking machine and Schatzy over here. And if we can, I got 3 cheers, the cheers song. I got three times because I guess I'm a little
in the studio already.
Yeah, I was nostalgic, and so I kept getting cheers by Schatzy. So we'll see if that happens again today. But I'm super excited about this, and legit, guys. Like, I appreciate y'all letting me come up here and have this conversation. We'll see where it goes. I mean, we're just going to talk about your story, both of your stories. And I will tell you this. Bella is jealous. Bella's my daughter that was here last time.
We had dinner. We broke bread with Bella.
We hung out.
Does she live in the city?
She probably will when she graduates college in a year. But
there you go.
She goes to Penn State. But she said hello.
Right, Penn State.
She really enjoyed hanging out with y'all. Legit, she was like, that sucks. I really wish I could
now.
No, she's not. She's not. So here we are, branded hospitality. I got the famous, world. I mean, they have the biggest podcast in the world, so you know them, Jimmy and Schatzy. And we're just gonna talk shop for a little while, guys. So the only I don't script these. There's no plan. It was just conversation. But the only thing I always ask every guest, Schatzy, we'll start with you. Is
good Lord.
When did your winding, wonderful journey into the world of hospitality begin?
This is great. This is awesome. It's great to be part of the Fly show. The Fly show, you know. I started out as really going back OG. I mean, it's really got to go back to the Bagel Chateau in Milburn, New Jersey. Then I worked at a bagel store. When I was 16 or 15 or 16. I don't know. But I was young.
Bagel Chateau.
I know I didn't have a moped yet, but I think it's because my mom wouldn't let me have a moped. So my mom had to drive me and pick me up, or I had to walk home or something like that.
And now your wife won't let you have a moped. That's kind of funny. It's gone full circle.
They had mopeds back then?
Yeah, they did. I remember it was like a Moby or Motor Bricane. I don't know, but they had mopeds. You don't see mopeds anymore here. I mean, Europe, you don't see mopeds. It was really – so I started at a bagel store, and that was my first job in hospitality. Then that's where it all started. But then I went into other businesses and came back as a bartender years later.
Making bagels?
Oh, I wasn't actually at the level of making the bagels. That was left to the experts. I was cleaning, mopping floors, emptying garbage. I was as they say, I was the lowest of the low. I was the dishwasher. I cleaned the wooden planks of the bagels that they'd lay them out on. Yeah, so I was doing the grunt work. I was a dishwasher and busser.
Summer job kind of thing.
It was a summer job.
Had to make money.
Yeah, it was great. A lot of fun.
When did
Still there.
You went on and did other things. You came back.
Yeah.
Bartending.
Bartending. Yeah, came back bartending. That's really where kind of this journey starts. It was really bartending at Duke's, which is downstairs, which was the first restaurant that I started working in with our partner, Dean, who owned that restaurant, City Crab, next door. So I started bartending there, and then one thing led to another, and I got to buy into that restaurant. And, it was great. I loved it. I loved the bartending. I loved the interaction, loved playing with the music, loved not charging people for drinks, all those things, I remember the point-of-sale system we had back then. It was called Squirrel. I think it was Squirrel, the Squirrel system. And it wasn't even a touch screen. It was a screen that you touched a button that kind of showed you what you were touching. You couldn't touch the screen.
Yeah.
There was a button that pointed, kind of like the ATM machines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You couldn't really touch the screen, but it said, cash, and there was a little arrow. Yeah. That was and it was very complicated. I mean, I always joke with Jimmy that, I think that I crushed it as a bartender because I never charged. Because it would have got busy. Like, a lot of people would come in and they'd be like, before Corona, and this and that. And then you had to add it all up. And then, and those days it was cash. I mean, there wasn't a lot of credit cards. It was, and then you had to figure it all out, and it was always very complicated. So, hey,
what?
Get me later.
Get me the next one.
And I remember the worst thing that people could do is when you told them how much it was. And they did the old, because there was change. And they did the old, here's 23 cents to make the 87 $1. And you're on it. I'm like, what? What are you talking? What? They're like, oh, so you give me, what? And your head would just explode. You know what I'm talking about when you round it to the dollar?
Yes.
And then I'm like, they're like, oh, wait, you know what? Here's 7 cents. I'm like, well, I don't want 7 cents. Well, now so now you owe me, instead of giving me 9, you give me 10. I'm like, what? What are you doing? Just stop. The POS told me what I have to give you. Don't confuse the point of sale.
Just take the beers. Just have them.
Yeah, it was very complicated.
You get good tips when you give away free beers, I bet.
And that led to Schatzy's promotion.
Yeah, never been so much fun.
They're like, get him out from behind the bar next to the register and make him a manager.
I was a manager. What do you mean? Am I not doing a good job? You're doing such an amazing job. I'm going to make you a manager. Our beverage cost went down 20 points.
So this is Duke's, which is
right downstairs. Well, now it's Daily Provisions. Danny Meyer is Daily Provisions. There's his first Daily Provisions.
Okay. That was Duke's.
But Duke's was there from, what, Jimmy, 95?
95 to...
For a long, 20 years.
Yeah, over 20 years.
Yeah. It was... In its heyday, I mean, Duke's was...
The original Roadhouse.
It was like the place.
New York City's original Roadhouse.
Yeah,
I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be respectful. New York City. How about the Flatirons original Roadhouse?
All right.
How about 19th Street's original Roadhouse?
I mean, at Jimbo, Jimmy, Dean, our other partner, and everyone we knew. I mean, that's where everyone would come to go out before we would go out.
Yes, go out before we go out, and then sporting events
and
big games.
I mean, it was and then it was, and we put in a couple TVs, and I remember the TVs. We talked about this last week. They were TVs back in those days were
big, thick, heavy.
Like a 36-inch TV. It had to be 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And you had to have somebody come and bolt something to the ceiling to hold this thing. And really fat. I mean, if you turn this thing and it would knock you clear out. And we put a couple colored TVs in there. Got DirecTV, right? And and it became the original, right?
See what he did there?
What?
See what Schatzy just did there?
No, but we really did have DirecTV, and you had but you couldn't. The only way to watch sports back in those days was you had to go to a sports bar, right?
Yes.
And that's the only way you could watch any games. I mean, the NFL package that really made DirecTV. You couldn't watch. I mean, if you had a Jet game and a Giant game, that was all you got at home, right?
Yep.
So really, and then we just we crushed it over there. It was awesome.
When was this? When did you start there?
This was 9. I mean, it opened. I got involved right after Dean opened it. It wasn't open very long, and I started. So I would say 95. That's what I think. Yeah, City Crab was open in 93.
All right,
and we used to just go eat there, and then 95, I think, right?
Yep.
So you got 30 years in this, legit.
Yeah. Definitely 30 years.
Okay. So
they used to make me. I mean, it was a roadhouse, and we had barbecue. It was great. I mean, the food was awesome. I mean, great food. Our other partner, Andrew, was a chef, CIA guy. Food was amazing. And when the restaurant got really busy, I would be relegated to the fry station because that was like the easiest. It was the easiest thing. You couldn't really, you couldn't really fuck anything up at the fry station. It was just like, Schatz, put more fries in, and those days we weren't buying frozen fries. We were blanching them. You had the sheet pans of the fries from downstairs. And, I remember my face just breaking out with zits because I would be relegated to the fry station, the oil and everything, But that's what I used to do, I would never be allowed to use the grill or the oven or any of that stuff.
So you're doing this, counting up cash, trying to figure this all out, get moved around. Mm-hmm. Like, when did you go, I like this. Like, this is what I want to do.
Oh, it was like relatively soon. It was just so much fun. Like I said, I mean, the place would get packed. It was a long time ago, so it was a different time in New York City. Mm-hmm. And controlling.
It was a simpler time.
It was a simpler time. It really was. It was less competition. I just remember making mixtapes, and it was, I'll date myself some more like I haven't already, but Maxwell, right? What was it?
Maxell mixtapes.
Yeah, not Maxwell. I think is a coffee.
Yes. No, it's Maxell mixtapes.
Right?
Yeah, that was and you got like the really high end ones.
Yeah, like the UDXL 2s or something like this. And you would make mixtapes. And I would go home at night and I would take DVD the discs and I would make music. I'd make the mixes and then come back and I would remember the next night I would be like, oh, this mix is going to kill it. You put the music on and you would see like everyone like react to the music that you were playing.
That's awesome.
And it was just like you loved it. People would be like, "Oh, dude!" Like, and you knew that you were controlling that and you were making the atmosphere.
Yep.
And then so like those were the things we started doing, and then we started like changing them, like updating the menu, and you saw like how people would react to the things that you were doing.
Uh-huh.
That just hooked me up, and it was just so cool that you could literally change the vibe by lights and music, the atmosphere, and you could make people happy, So you took the hospitality, the beverage, the food, the beverage, and then you just tie in the atmosphere with the music and the TVs, and then that was just awesome.
You got it. You had EQ. You understand. You could read the room, figure out what was going on.
Exactly. You knew what kind of. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I still like doing that with this thing.
Yeah, I could tell.
Start playing the music on this. Yeah, I like it.
Did you? Okay, and then so you eventually, this is a group? You bought into this?
This was Dean, who I knew from college, from BU, and Jimmy and Dean grew up in the city together. So this just, at that point, was just a friend.
Okay.
And I was like,
BU,
Boston University.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I just was looking for a job to bartend because I was working for my dad in the fashion business on 7th Avenue. So I was looking for a gig. He sold his company, so I was looking for a gig to kind of make ends meet and just figure out next move. And I kind of really enjoyed it.
Gotcha.
And just stayed in it. And that was it.
Okay. All right. So I want to get back to that. But then, Jimmy, how did you, so Dean's your friend, but you were in a totally different world.
Totally different world.
You were over in finance.
I was in finance. I cut my teeth as a high schooler. Okay. Walked into the local pub, the Polo Grounds sports bar, and asked if they needed any help. Because my brothers and I, we grew up in New York City, and we all worked. I don't remember my dad telling us that we had to work, but we all worked. So babysitting was popular, umpiring Little League baseball games under the 59th Street Bridge. And then I got this idea I could walk into this bar and say, you looking for any help? And they put me to work right away, bussing and bar back, and just basically just supporting the front of house staff. Nice. And then got elevated to a waiter, and I dug it. And then it just became for me a gig job anytime I had a chance to jump in and I could pick up the shift. And I lived across the street from the bar, so it was a friendly place for me to jump into and earn. I did that in college. I ran a pizza delivery business for a local pizzeria. We used to joke, I went to Wesleyan University, I joked that we were the politically correct pizza as opposed to Domino's. No disrespect. The company, you could order from a local guy, and we ran a delivery service, and that was great fun.
There you go. I like that.
And then graduated and went into investment banking after college. And before I went to grad school, I returned as a bartender and just kept jumping in every chance I got. When I came out of grad school, I joined a full-time job, kept a Saturday night bartending, and then one one day, I forgot exactly when, my boss said to me that I was being too well known on Mondays for what I did on Saturday night when people would come to my bar, and that maybe I should hang up my apron, and I did. Stopped working. And then when I had a few nickels to my name, I invested with Michael and Dean because I really did love the business.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, Schatzy and Dean.
I was like,
Who's Michael?
There was Michael.
Yeah.
I did love the business, but at that point, I had working on Wall Street, and I was running this. I ran my I'll call it my day job was finance, and my side hustle, or as FINRA would call it, my outside business activity, my OBA, was investing in some restaurants, and then it wasn't until like 2018 that this idea, Branded Hospitality Group, came up with the idea that. Could we take a restaurant guy, Mr. Michael Schatzberg? Could you take a finance guy, Jimmy Frischling, and could you create an investment and solutions platform? Really working with subject matter experts and focusing on the digital transformation of this industry. That's kind of how it came together. But I cut my teeth early, but never ran a restaurant. And while I think I know more than the average Joe, because I've been inside them, I've never run the back of house, and I've got uber respect because what guests see is front of house, and I'm not a golfer, but I understand the sport. That you drive for show and you putt for dough. The front of house is what the guests see.
Yep.
Back of house is really where the money truly is made and lost, and I've never done that. And I think a lot of people that invest and play in this space really don't have that expertise. And I think that's one of the things we've tried to focus on is leveraging that type of operational expertise and understanding of the workflow to kind of focus our business. But started as a young man and then came back to it, I guess, like kind of like Al Pacino. I thought I was out, but they brought me back in. Pulled me back in.
If it weren't for Sofia Coppola, that would have been a great movie too. The first two are phenomenal.
Telling me the third one?
Yeah.
Now, do you think the third one is a terrible movie, or compared to 1 and 2, it doesn't hold up?
I think it's a
Because I think it's a good movie.
I just told somebody this the other day. I still think it's a great movie.
Like I enjoyed The Godfather 3. It just doesn't hold.
Sofia Coppola ruins every scene that she's in. I know she's a great director now, but.
Would have asked Jimmy what his favorite movie is.
So Rocky's my favorite movie. I love 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I'm good. Just can't do 5. Can't do 5.
My son's got a.
Which one was 5? Is it like
Tommy Morrison?
Yeah, wasn't that John Wayne's like nephew or something?
Tommy Morrison was?
Yeah,
that I don't know, but that's the only Rocky I couldn't watch.
That was a sad story. That dude, like his real story.
My daughter.
I thought that was.
My daughter wanted to surprise me, but on a movie. She goes, "I'm doing a movie." I go, "Great, is it Rocky?" She goes, "It's not Rocky." Okay, Rocky 2. She goes, "It's not Rocky." I'm like, "Rocky 3." She's like, "Stop it, Dad." My daughter's 8, by the way. I was playing around, but anyway, I love the Rockies. But yeah, Godfather 3. I think absolutely good movie. Just doesn't hold. Doesn't hold to.
Doesn't hold to the first. The first 2 are the 2 best movies ever made. I think.
And they.
It's the first time Part 1 and Part 2 won Oscar for Best Picture.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
yes.
All right. So then you guys, before you get Branded Hospitality going, you've got how many restaurants?
Oh, it was Tommy Morrison, right?
Tommy Morrison.
Yeah, he said he was the grand nephew of John Wayne.
Is that true?
I don't know. It says it's never been. Maybe he just said that.
It's never been confirmed.
And John Wayne's dead for a long time.
So no one.
So is he, unfortunately.
Yeah. How did he die?
He got. Oh man, that's a sad story. Go watch the.
Maybe we shouldn't talk.
Go watch the
Netflix. It's a
Netflix.
happy show.
I was an investor with Schatzy and his restaurants, and I had none, and still have no operation responsibilities. I don't think they'd call me a silent partner because I talk too much. They would make fun of me for eating and drinking for free. I don't think that's fair either because it's kind of like riding the bus. You pay. Yeah. And then you ride. You're not riding free. You paid. I paid up front, and then I took the ride. So I don't know. Thought that's how it worked.
How many restaurants do you have?
Oh, I'm the restaurant guy.
Yeah, no. Today the group that we have 20 in the group.
20 all around Manhattan.
Yes.
Like all kind of around here, or just?
We have 3 right here, as you know, because you ate in one of them. We have one across the street, Bar Booty and Leg Express, right next door. 50th Street, Midtown. We have Monterey, and then it kind of like goes up the Upper West Side and the Upper East Side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All different types of restaurants.
But most of those, they are run by Schatzy and some of our longstanding restaurant partners. Mm-hmm. Branded Hospitality Group. we've now made investments in a number of emerging restaurants.
Right.
That is part of this company and this effort.
And all our restaurant partners are part of branded hospitality. So every time we make investments, all of our restaurant partners are in that, but we don't operate the ones that we're investing in.
Okay.
Correct.
But how many operating partners do you all have?
We have 2, 3, 4 other than, so it's 6 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 20 restaurants. And then you've got your brand and investments. But that's a lot of restaurants to manage and do this. You got.
Yeah, but like Jimmy said, we don't really do. Jimmy, I would say, does almost nothing.
I'd say I'm back to that eating and drinking for free part.
Yeah. And I really, really work with our partners that run the restaurants day to day. It's really testing technology. It's really, making deals with suppliers. We're in an RFP right now for a few different things. So it's we piloted a voice technology for the phone. So we use 2 restaurants to pilot 2 different ones. I help run that process, and then we make a deal. And I say, all right, we like this one. Let's bring it to 20 stores. Great. What's the price? We got to, So I think a lot of those things. Yep. So that's where we have a lot of fun. We're vetting and testing.
We had one restaurant on the Upper East Side that Schatzy was renovating, converting a Big Daddy's Diner into a Duke's uptown. And Big Daddy's Diner, that would
have been our second Duke's or our third Duke's?
That was our third Duke's. Yep. And Big Daddy's, which opened up down here on Park South, it was really cool. It's kind of like the coffee shop. Had a late night vibe, had a good bar. People would go there. It was open late. People would go there for after they were going out. It was where they could start their weekends and they could end their weekend nights there as well. Yeah. And we opened one on the Upper East Side, and something happened when we went, onto the Upper East. It kind of became like the Chuck E. Cheese of the Upper East Side, kid friendly. And you know what? We love kids. Schatzy's got 3. You've got 3. I have 1. And something happened with Big Daddy's Upper East Side. It became really kid friendly.
But also remember the construction.
Yep.
The subway construction.
Yeah,
it really killed us.
But still, when we were Upper East Side, kids share dishes. Those cheap. Yeah. They don't drink. And I have to tell you, a lot of parents
we used to try and get them to drink.
We tried.
Lowered the drink.
Yes, lowered the drink.
We said 5 and up.
So Schatzy makes his decision to convert Big Daddy's into Duke's Roadhouse.
But the subway construction had cleared off.
Yep.
So now we needed something to reinvigorate.
Yes. But what I was going to say is that one restaurant, and Schatzy's kind of let's reopen and let's kind of come in with a blast. He then got to, because it was a clean slate, he got to bring in 4 tech companies. One was a self-pouring beverage system, Pour My Bev, Pour My Beer at the time, now Pour My Bev. He brought in Chowly to help with the online, our off-premise ordering. Right. He brought in Bbot, QR codes, pay at the table. And they brought in GoParrot, kind of leveling up delivery, white label delivery as opposed to third party. And those 4 companies, we wouldn't have identified them and understood their value add, but for having a single restaurant that Schatzy had control over to install this equipment, bring it in, and got to test and vet it. And that really launched our investment thesis, because from one restaurant, we saw the impact that these 4 companies had. 2 have since exited, been acquired and positively for branded as an investor.
Good one. One was DoorDash.
Square bought GoParrot. And DoorDash bought Bbot, and Chowly and Pour My Bev were on a great run. Yeah. And all that came from one restaurant. And then that clued us in, imagine if we had an army of restaurants. So rather than just our own, we started reaching out to other operators, asking if they want to be part of our, testing, diligence. Because at the end of the day, as the finance person, I should not choose companies. The company should be chosen by the operators who say, this is a piece of technology or an innovation that I actually would embrace. I need it. I would use it. I'd pay for it. And that really is how we look at, tech companies. Is it something an operator would value and pay for? As opposed to the story and what we're thinking. No, forget the story. What does an operator think? And that's kind of, it all started with the restaurant that Schatzy was renovating, and we did it 4 times successfully. We got something here. Let's do more of this. There you go.
And that's launched.
Boom.
There.
Mic drop. Boom.
Pin drop. There it is.
There it is. By the way, I don't think Schatzy, either he did hear you or he pretended not to hear you saying, do not touch the sound bar. He's like,
No.
It's, you know what?
I thought you said don't touch the volume control over here.
Hey, look, fair enough. I tried to get you all to come to Charlotte to come to my studio where I would have been in control of this stuff.
True.
You want to sit here? No, I don't.
Yes. We will come to Charlotte. But anyway, that was really how we turned a restaurant group.
That's 4 cheers, by the way.
Yes,
that's 4 cheers.
That's how we turned a restaurant group into an active restaurant into an investment group.
I want to be up on the cheers wall. So yes, that's 4. I'm sure we'll get
How do
more.
we get you on the cheers wall?
I'll get some. We got to get. So that's 4. We got to get to at least 5 today. I've got some good nostalgic stuff we talked about. Yeah. So. Yeah. Ironically, I will say this. This is a true story. That theme song that you kept playing last time got in my head. And so this was like, I don't know, was it like 4 or 5 months ago I was up here?
Yep.
Kid you not. I mean, I grew up watching Cheers, loved Cheers,
Sure.
Hadn't watched Cheers in probably 20 years.
Are you back?
I'm back on it, dude. I kept getting the theme song in my head, and I started watching it again. And that's my thing at night when I've had a long day, or I just need to check out for a little bit. Dude, you go sit down and watch 1 or 2 episodes. I mean, they're only 20 minutes, right? Because the commercial.
Yeah.
You watch a couple of those, it's so freaking good. You can't end that not being man, I'm good.
And I got to tell you, what's fun about Cheers, it's great. First of all, it's in Boston. It's a great city. What's his name? Sam Malone. Was a pitcher
for the Red
Sox.
Yeah.
Coach was his pitching coach for the Red Sox, and it had all this, and then who was
Norm?
But no, she was married to the guy who was a hockey player for
Diane.
No, not Diane.
Oh, no. Well, see, I haven't even gotten to where.
Danny
What's her name?
DeVito's ex-wife.
Oh, yeah, Ray Perlman.
Yeah.
But it was just, like you said, it's at a bar, which we all love because hospitality. Yep. The characters were unbelievable.
Yep.
The storyline, it's just funny and it's relevant. It's just great. I got to tell you, watching it today, I think is it as relevant now as ever before? I mean, it's just funny stuff.
It's just, you can't, it holds up. It holds up really well.
Kids would like that.
So I don't know if this is good parenting or bad parenting, but my 8-year-old daughter loves watching Friends. So you could say maybe that is or is not age appropriate. Probably not age appropriate to let her watch Friends, but she loves it. No, Friends, watching Friends. But I bring it up because that show, you told me your kids, your 3 20-year-olds love Friends. That has held. But here it was. We're watching Nickelodeon. She's watching the Thundermans. There's no reason why anyone knows what that is. And there's a character on the show. Her first name is Phoebe. And her 2 middle names are Rachel and Monica, the Thunderman. And I hear the name, and I'm like, whoever wrote this show,
obviously,
whoever wrote this show clearly likes some Friends. And I'm laughing. I'm like, that little Easter egg was for all the adults in the room.
Watching with their kids.
Watching with their kids.
They're like, oh my God, Friends.
One day, and then they bring up they bring up all the character names of Friends, and I'm laughing because it's for young kids, and they weave it in. There
Iconic opening song for Friends, but I actually will say, I actually thought about this recently. I think Cheers has the best opening song.
Yes,
you hear those. You hear those
better one than Friends. You hear those tunes. It's like,
it's good when you watch it every single. I bet you if you went and watched Friends, you would not skip through.
You want to hear the opening.
It's like the cool black and white pictures in the background they show while it's happening too. It's like the perfect opening of a sitcom.
It was a simpler time back then. It was a simple sitcom.
It was. I just remember.
And by the way, you had to watch the commercials. They made you watch the commercials.
I remember going to college, and you would actually go and see the outside. I think it was the Bull and Finch Tavern or something like that. That was
which is where they
Cheers was. Yeah.
Okay.
It showed you the outside. That's where it was.
Well, speaking of a simpler time, so it's interesting because you talked about the old POS and cash, and now you guys have this business, and I want to talk more about branded and that you kind of teed up the spark. Mm-hmm. So what got you going, where you are now, where you're going. But I mean, you guys invest in but there's so many little company signs on your wall over there.
Like doing a Forrest Gump. Where are you going? Where are those shoes going? Where are they coming from? Mama used to say.
Mama said they were special
Mama
shoes.
Said these are special shoes.
Okay, you just called me Forrest.
Run, Forrest, run! I feel like I need to get a little Forrest Gump music. That was a good soundtrack.
That was a great soundtrack.
That's a phenomenal soundtrack. Yeah. That's a great movie. But so y'all have so many different companies that you're invested in here, and you invest in a tiny little sliver of all the restaurant tech companies out there.
Yeah.
So we went from this simple time, cash, punch button, cash registers or whatever, to holy crap. I think about this from an operator's perspective, which is, I love what y'all are doing. If you're an operator, you're I got to solve this problem. Like you're in the middle of the wheel and you got all these spokes, right? Here's my next problem to solve. There's like 50 companies for every problem. That's a problem in itself, right? Like there's so much restaurant tech. Yeah. How do you vet and find the right provider that works for your business, that dials into your other tech? Money was free for a decade, right? Mr. Finance Guy, you know that. So a lot of money got washed into this space. A lot of companies doing a lot of different stuff. Yeah. Y'all have a better lens into this than probably anybody. My guess, it's got to be, is that in the next few years you're going to see a lot of mergers and acquisitions and there's too much tech, right? Like it's not simple. It's complicated as hell right now.
I think you're already seeing the M&A that we've been seeing, but I don't think that's. I think that it's a fragmented industry. The restaurants themselves, the hotels, the restaurants, the hospitality venues, there's a lot of variances. They're not all the same. There's a lot of factors that make them different. Yep. So the idea that there's this one magic tech, because when I first started, there were plenty of point of sale companies. It wasn't like all of a sudden point of sale companies started coming out like the last 5 years. A lot of these companies were around for years and years and years. And some of the companies that you're seeing today, just to talk about point of sale, really started not as a point of sale. Toast was not a point of sale when it started. Yeah. It became a point of sale. It was really if I remember correctly, it was a payment, pay at the table kind of. And I think that the team there recognized that integrating into the point of sale was really hard back in those days because you only had a couple big players and the tech was so old and farty. It was built on DOS or something like that. Yeah. That the ability to do anything was so expensive and so ridiculous. The engineers and you know what I mean? So I think there's tremendous consolidation we've already seen happening. You'll continue to see it happening. But as that happens, there's new things that come that no one thought about. And then there's another problem that you're trying to solve for. So the point of sale was kind of I always laughed that the only technology we had in restaurants was the dishwasher, and that was our robotics. It was the greatest, coolest automation ever. It was robots. Right. You pulled it down, things were spinning. There was soap coming out of things, dispensers. I mean, what a machine this was, drying things. It was automatic, So as techs, so then point of sale was really the only other tech you had. Oh, and I also think the other tech I really liked was the soda machine, the you get right the soda, fountain. Not even the gun, the fountain. How good was the fountain? Everybody always wanted to use a fountain, right? Yeah, that was your big thing. So I think that there'll be new tech coming. You see it with AI. There's just so much new things that will come that you weren't thinking about,
So you had this idea for Branded, and this was not that long ago. Mm-mm. You started 7 or 8 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago?
I think our first investment was January of 18.
18.
Yeah.
All right, and how many companies are you invested in now?
Over 60.
Just about 60, yeah.
Okay. So you do it through a fund, you raise money?
We've done it through a fund. We've done 2 funds that have 19 investments and 24 respectively. We've done quite a few SPVs. We've done that now 19 times. So a special purpose vehicle. It's a fund of one. It's a fund that has LPs, limited partners, and it makes a single investment. And then we also have 2 family offices that we work with on a non-discretionary basis, but they each have made several investments through us. Before we had those investment vehicles, we invested simply from our parent company. And then after doing that about a dozen times, we then shifted gears and made the parent company the operator of the business, the managing partner of the business. And we then created vehicles that would let people invest with us. And that's the way we migrated to. I just want to go back to your question a moment ago. This is the most fragmented industry of size that I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and
sure.
What I mean and I quantify that, there are 4 airlines that have over 80% of the flights in this country. Mm-hmm. And there are a dozen banks that have 80% of the deposits. There are 3 phone companies that have 90% of the phone lines. Yeah. And if you look at our industry, if you just restaurants, we're over $1 trillion in sales. Just the restaurants, not the C-stores, not the grocers, not the stadiums, arenas, cafeterias, just the restaurants. And 70% of them are independents. Yeah. So that's a lot of fragmentation compared to other industries. So when you're looking at tech for this industry, it's kind of going back to what we heard. We have to meet the tech has to meet operators where they're at.
Yeah,
and I've met plenty of restaurant operators that have 1 or 2 stores, and they might call and say, we want to maximize, we want the best tech stack, and I'm like, dude, just call Toast, for example, and they'll set you up. You got a lot of other things to deal with, and I'm not saying that's the right solution for everybody. But I often just say, you know what? You've got so much to work on. You don't have to worry about maximizing and having the perfect tech stack. You could have as much as a one-size-fits-all. Keep it simple. Yep. And as you grow and scale, we'll talk about whether or not you should be layering in other functionality and other software that could create some efficiencies. But because so many of your customers are independents. And you could run a restaurant with a notepad and a pencil. I wouldn't recommend it.
Probably 100,000 of them out there right now.
Still do it. So you can do it.
Not for nothing. Nicola's on the Upper East Side. How do they operate? Wade comes over.
Yes.
What do you want?
And it works.
Special.
Yeah. How do you get delivery? You call. And by the way, you pick it up. So
Nicola's, I'm gonna help you.
They answer the phone. So my comment is there's a lot of room in this market for different styles and different types. It's not a one size fits all. So as much tech is being thrown in the industry, we're an industry that has not been tech forward, and I don't think we ever will because we're very high touch. Name other industries where the customer is both in the retail facility and the manufacturing facility at the same time.
Right.
And that high touch, we have to take such great care of the guests. We're not going to technology our way. It starts with the guest. So for each operator, they've got to figure out what they need to help their needs, and it's not a one size fits all. So I think we are justified in being a slower adopter, and that's okay. So when I think about all the tech that's coming out, at the end of the day, it has to do one thing. It has to satisfy the operator's needs. And that you're an operator-centric company. We're an operator-centric investor. We want to invest in technology that operators tell us they value, they need it. They want it, they need it. It'll help their business. Because if we help the operators win, so there's a lot of room for success here. If the operators don't win, what the hell are we doing this for?
I have a double chin. I don't really notice it until I see myself, and I'm trying to do something.
It's the camera angle.
But I really think I got to get. Does anyone know? Do you have a good surgeon?
I thought Schatzy was going to chime in and comment. I thought he was going to comment on how much he liked what I just said, but no, he wasn't. He's like, I have a double chin.
I was kind of thinking you were going to get even listening with that.
Yeah,
I thought I was speaking.
That was quite a.
But that's anyway. There it is.
I have people tell me often. They say owners will say, "You'd be amazed at how many people come in here and they try to sell me something that was created by somebody who's never run restaurants and financed by somebody who's never run restaurants, and then they come and say, this is how you should run your restaurant.
Well, this is what you need.
You need this. Then literally they never
I
actually
needed that.
Yeah.
I've been in meetings, and Schatzy he's really an incredibly positive person. Don't pour his water.
Sparkling water.
Don't pour his sparkling water, and don't pour his wine, because he teaches the staff to kind of pour it out, and then you want another? Hold on. You want another?
Exactly.
So don't do that. But
that's my
thing. His thing. But the other thing is we've been pitched by a lot of companies. We've been active investors. We've also been pitched by a lot of companies. And I could be sitting in on a meeting, listening to the pitch, and every now and then Schatzy will be like, well, that's not going to. Here's why that's not going to work. And they go, no. And the person challenges, and then Schatzy will be like, you ever worked in a restaurant before? And then the guy, well, no. What do you know about operating? Well, I've been to restaurants. I've been a very good guest of restaurants. So basically, you're admitting you've never worked in this industry, and yet you've come up with this idea. Yeah. You've got it somewhat funded. Yeah. Congratulations. You, as you said, funded probably by people who haven't never worked in the industry. And the Schatzy is like, well, God bless you, but that's not how it works. Yeah. And that's why we got to listen to the operators. Everyone should be listening to the operators. Whether they're right, wrong, or otherwise, doesn't matter. They're the ones who are going to choose what tech matters to them.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how many deals do y'all look at? Like, are you looking at like a deal a week, or people pitching you, people trying to?
Our top of the funnel.
If you got 60 firms, of course, some of those are not tech, right? You're talking about Big Chicken.
We've also invested in some restaurants at 60.
Okay.
I mean, our top of the funnel, we do not profess to see everything. No one can see everything. But as a active early stage investor, we do see a lot, and people show us a lot. And a lot of later stage investors, when something's too early for them, they send it our way. So we have a very robust top of funnel, and we've created some filters to help, and Schatzy's identified certain filters to help us, but it's more than one a week.
Oh,
I mean,
I was going to say, it's no less than 6 a week.
Yeah.
Like
no less than 6 a week that you all look at.
I'm not going to say we look at everything.
Because sometimes they get through the filter.
They come in,
Yeah.
and sometimes they just don't pass the quick filter of just, it's just we're not interested. We already have something in our portfolio that's just like that. We'll take a quick look. Just, is it really how different are you than this? Oh, my God, it's totally different. Well, I guess we're the same. Like you said, there's a whole bunch of companies doing similar things, and they could all do really well. But, yeah, like 6.
I would say to make 60, if we've made about mid-40s in terms of B2B SaaS. Let's say we'll call it 45 B2B SaaS companies. We've looked at thousands.
Really?
And we document and onboard every single company. Anyone who reaches out to us in any way, shape, or form, we onboard.
Yeah.
Or at least we try to onboard. Some people don't want to onboard.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, write me a check. But we got to onboard. You got to go through this process. No. We're not doing that. But so we really onboard everybody. That gives us the ability to look back and see how we're doing, and see some of the misses, and we've seen some misses.
How are you doing? I mean, I know you're doing well overall, but are you getting better at figuring out which ones will probably stick and which ones might not? Or
I would say, first of all, I'm thrilled by where we're sitting today as an active investor in the space, and I think where we've gotten a lot better. First of all, we've shifted some of our investment thesis into other restaurant operators and into Big Chicken and now Craveworthy and Brooklyn Dumpling Shop, Mighty Quinn's Barbecue. So we've now broadened our thesis, and I think by working with some of these operators, these emerging operators who are tech forward, I think it's increased and improved our kind of funnel, in that it's not just, let's say, our group now, but we can leverage others. And they've also now shown us some of the most interesting deal flow.
I was going to say, they're getting deal flow that we're not.
They're getting pitched things all the time.
Some guy has 300 restaurants. Like, they can come to me, they go to him and just, hey, do you want to use this? And then he's like, I got to tell you, I'm not sure yet, but let me introduce you to you guys. And then we look at it from a lens of, well, hey, do you like this as a tech? Yeah, I really think it's good. Then let's look at it as an investment as well.
The market in general, despite the still very, I don't want to say frothy, but the stock markets are doing really well. And yet it's a very challenging environment for raising capital and whatnot. And I don't know how long that'll last, but regardless, I find this environment for investing to be so favorable to those willing to deploy capital, because capital has become more scarce. When term sheets are being issued in 45 minutes of meeting a company, and that
at
was
$100 million valuation,
at $100 million valuation with no sales, and that's called AI right now. But it's hard.
True.
It's hard for someone who's fundamentally want to test to invest and really dig into how do operators feel about the tech before they're cutting checks. That was an environment that was, I think, was more challenging. And while this one is hard because capital is hard to come by, I will say the scrutiny and the patience and for deals to get done now, capital, I think, is being more respected today than it was X years ago, which to a certain extent, and that's because capital is harder to come by. But if this industry is going to continue to embrace digital and technology, it's never going to be a technology industry. Domino's was never a tech company that sold pizzas. It's always been a pizza company that happened to lever tech. But at the end of the day, we're going to continue to be a people business, a food and beverage business, and be, tech supported. And therefore, I think it's still an amazing time to be looking at what we're doing and this industry's doing.
What do you do when because 70% of the industry is independent operators, because there's a lot of solutions out there, and because they need to be, and each operator has
and hotels, by the way, just as like Jimmy had mentioned that there's like 5 major flags, let's just say. You got the IHG, you got the Marriotts, you got the Hyatts. It's a franchise business, so it's just like restaurants.
Yep.
I got 200 of them. I got 100 of these Hampton Inns, and I got 10 of those, and I got but So it's just as fragmented. It doesn't look as fragmented from what you were just saying with, it's just Hyatt. No, you talk to Hyatt Marriott, they're not making a lot of tech decisions at all of these restaurants. It's usually the real estate company, the operators that are managing these properties. Yep. Yeah. So I just wanted to add that adds a whole other layer of fragmentation.
It's extremely fragmented. We see that a lot. I agree with that. If you're an independent operator, or you have a boutique hotel or a restaurant or a coffee shop, whatever, brewery, where do you go to learn? Like, I want to run my business. I love what I'm doing, but there's 1,000 tech companies out there. What do we do to help them? How do we help those folks try to figure this out?
So my advice would be the following. When I started my first company,
give my cell phone.
Is that give Schatzberg. Actually, I'm actually gonna get. Actually, it's not a crazy answer, but I'd say the following: when I started my first company, I called a friend of mine who had walked many more miles as an entrepreneur than I did, and I asked him who he knows and trusts for the various things. And we weren't the same company, but starting with knowing and trusting. And my comment to anyone starting, any independent restaurateur who wants to think about tech, let's start with your peer group. People you know and trust. And if you don't have someone who's doing exactly what you're doing, well, then you read the hospitality headline and you reach out to us.
You have no friends. Are there people that are friends?
But my comment is you got to navigate, leverage in the personal relationship and get to somebody. And I'm not saying what he or she tells you is religion and gospel and you're going to have to embrace it. But start with people you know and trust. I think that is your best bet in almost any situation. I mean, think about what's the best guest acquisition strategy would ever come. How about a friend saying, I just ate at this place. Wil, it's great. You should check it out. Word of mouth. So I think it starts word of mouth.
With movies,
word of mouth.
Shows,
word of mouth.
It's still the best.
So if you're running a restaurant, you find somebody. If you can't find them, start networking to find someone who's going to tell you, this is what worked for me and why. And then you start doing your own homework.
Hey, listen, I'm a fan of word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
I got to tell you, though, I just want to say one thing about the word of mouth, because I say that the new word of mouth, it's social media, right? Social media has made the word of mouth. My word of mouth could reach millions of people in seconds. And I got to say, it's not to be trusted like me telling Jimmy to go to this restaurant, because now there's so much nonsense of Wil going out because someone's paying him $1,000 to eat at my restaurant and then use your network. And I've been going out to these places that are viral.
Yep.
I got to be honest with them. They're not that great.
Yep. Right, but you don't know the person that made that recommendation. You saw him or her online.
But that's what I'm saying. It goes viral, and it kind of ruins.
But to your point, word of mouth.
You start learning that lesson that the influencers are.
They're not all the same, because sometimes they're just, if Jimmy eats there, I trust Jimmy. That's becoming harder to find now. Now it's like Jimmy says it's great. Jimmy has 2 million followers. Jimmy's being paid a lot of money to say that's really great.
Yes.
Yep. And then you go and you're like, this wasn't really great. Fuck Jimmy. But it's ruining it a little bit, you know?
Well, it's garbage in, garbage out.
And you're waiting on, and then you see people waiting online. Like, what are they waiting for? Supposedly the best pizza in New York. What do you mean the best pizza? This is like every slice on the corner is the best pizza in New York. They're waiting for like an hour. Like, you have no idea what this pizza. This pizza's the best.
As I said, it starts with someone you know and trust. It's not that, and that may not necessarily, and probably is unlikely to be a social media influencer with 2 million followers.
That's why I say, get my number. You call Schatzy.
Call Schatzy.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, remember they used to have, when we were younger, they had like sports phone.
Yeah,
555. Hey, sports fans.
Yes.
And you know, like it was like $1 a minute or something like that. I'm gonna, just call Schatzy.
Call Schatzy.
70 cents a minute.
There you go. I'm gonna get you a flip phone.
First minute's free.
You can call me. My cell phone's right on there. I can tell you some good software. Well, look, we've grown literally from word of mouth for 18 years now. Like, one at a time. But I do think, I talk to owners. It's hard. Like there's just so much out there, and this is why you and I touched on this briefly one Saturday. We've had Saturday conversations recently, so we're gonna.
I have my Saturday therapy with Wil.
After
my workouts. I buy my daughter a Joe and the Juice sandwich and give her my extra phone, and I call Wil. My wife figured it out. She's like, "You guys are doing something after the workout." I'm like, "Yeah, giving someone my phone." And I call Wil.
So how much time do you give? How much time do you give Jimmy?
Oh, I'm normally out there in my pasture on my tractor, and
I've been trying to call your phone. You're not answering.
He's on the phone with me.
No, right there, missed call. Schatzy, look at that. Because I have my ringer off, man.
Oh, all right.
No, I'm like you. Yeah, I'll put my ringer on, and we'll just have all these freaking noises and shit going on.
Tried to call you.
So I know that's the only time I don't answer that phone.
It's like you said you'd always pick up.
I'd always pick up.
I just called and you didn't pick up. I was very okay. You pick up for Jimmy though.
I would. Jimmy called me. See what happens.
And we schedule. Like I said, I'll call you 10:05. Call you 10:15.
But one thing about restaurant guys, there's no schedule.
There it is. Look at that.
Restaurant.
Wait, no, this says potential spam.
Yeah, that's somebody else. That ain't me, buddy.
That wasn't me.
I thought that was.
That wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's the problem with having your phone number on your public websites. I get a lot of this, but I think that we've got like this network that we're going to deploy in Schedulefly that connects all of our customers that are around the country in one place. So, like, imagine a Reddit forum, user generated content. I've got this problem.
Jimmy, you have a 3:00 call.
Oh, I know.
Oh, did you?
We're still just rolling. I'm sorry.
Rolling. That's okay. I sent the text. I said I'm running a little late. I'm enjoying myself.
Yes. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
All good.
No,
we can.
Yes, all good. To your point, I actually, first of all, the independent restaurants are incredibly important. They are often kind of help make neighborhoods and help build communities. No disrespect.
We're usually the first ones over the wall in a shitty neighborhood is
the
usually
independent
a chef.
That
can't afford anything, so he goes to a shitty neighborhood, opens up dynamite restaurant, then people from other neighborhoods come, and then Bobby Flay was so mad when Mesa Grill he lost his lease. And look, landlords are in it to make money. I get it, but he was so mad because he was a first one in that neighborhood, and he gets thrown out for someone who will pay. Danny Meyer got thrown out on 16th Street. Because he was there in 1980 something.
But they're there first. Everybody comes in, gentrifies, rents go up.
By the way, there are 6 restaurants downstairs. We have 3 of them. We used to actually have more than 6.
We had 6.
We had 6
in this neighborhood.
But this neighborhood, people are like, oh man, so many restaurants. It's too competitive. Couldn't disagree with that more. This becomes a wonderful place for people to come down and check out, and you get to see other things. And if you can't get into one, you can get into another. There's plenty of dining options. This become very vibrant. But on the independents, they're the ones, as Schatzy said, they're the first ones who land and help. So, they need to be protected because they really are fabric of our communities. 2 is
New York City, by the way, from what I understand from the new mayor, potential mayor, they will have city-owned restaurants.
City-owned restaurants.
Yes, what I'm understanding.
Okay, interesting.
Serious?
No, I just made that up.
Okay.
It was basically, the city.
Oh, is that dude?
The city-owned grocer stores.
Yes.
So, New York. Nobody runs a restaurant like New York City.
We're getting. It's coming. We're getting a new mayor. So, we'll
when
see.
is the election? Is it soon?
It's in the fall.
Is it in November?
It's in November. In the fall.
That dude's going to be your next mayor.
I don't know if he's the next mayor. We'll see.
Yeah. But one of his ideas was city-owned grocers, and I think they just showed the city-owned grocers in Kansas City as a case in point. There's nothing on the shelves. So I just was kidding that the city would start opening restaurants.
My point on the independents was they're really important. They're really large. And they're the ones who actually would care most about this community of which Schedulefly has assembled because they are of like-minded. These are often family businesses. This is where the mom and the dad, it's like old school stuff when you go to Italy, like the mom's in the kitchen, the dad's running the front door, the sons are in the farm. Here we are now. The independents really do need they would benefit from the sharing of information. I think Schedulefly has a unique opportunity to have a group that feels, that sense of trust that they're working with your platform, and there are other things that they could share and be mindful of in helping each other. Anyway,
there you go.
It's beautiful, Jimmy. It really was beautiful.
You know what that calls for?
I was going to go like this. I was going to give you I just felt like this was kind of like, All
right. What is the last thing? What are y'all most excited about right now? Whether it's a tech, whether it's a concept. You made some investments into some concepts recently. What are you most fired up about that y'all are involved with?
Chat, you want to answer that first?
Yeah, I think for me, looking at right now, we talked about tech, and I think that we are in the earliest innings of not just technology within our industry and robotics and automation, but in the earliest innings of automation, robotics, AI, like the entire ecosystem of automation, robotics, et cetera. We are in the earliest innings of this. So what we're going to see in the next couple of years, I think it's just going to be mind-blowing in terms of tech, automation, the robotics, and AI, and just all, again, it's going to come into this industry like it's come into other industries. So I think it's really a cool time to, but at the end of the day, I mean, you got to have great food and great hospitality. So that's never going to change. But I think you're going to see some really cool stuff that the customers may not even know is happening.
Yeah.
But the operator's going to be like, holy shit, I thought the dishwasher was cool. Like, look at this stuff that we're getting right now, and it's coming and faster than people think.
One of my observations is I always thought the guests had a different relationship with the hotel than they did the restaurant. The hotel, because we're sleeping there, we wanted the hotel to know all about us. What floor, what was near the elevator, far from the elevator. Back when I used to travel decades ago, what kind of newspaper I might want, what do I read? We wanted them to know about us. And I felt with restaurants, it was far more personal. If we knew the bartender, if we knew the manager, we knew the owner, we knew the server. It wasn't institutionalized. At the hotel, I didn't know anyone at the hotel, but I wanted them to know about me so that my experience could be elevated because they knew me and I gave them my information. Yeah. And I thought with restaurants, that wasn't the same relationship. I think since we've launched our business, that has materially changed. And part of it is that operators now, there is tech that can help operators take in that data, use that data, and elevate a guest experience now, not because you have the relationship with the bartender, but because they've actually figured out how to know when Wil's coming in. They see it on the reservation, and they have some information that you've been happy to give them now because they're going to elevate you because of it. And I think that, to me, guest engagement and guest data is going to get used in a way that I hope allows people to have just better experiences, not because Joe or Joanne happens to be working that night who know me, but because they now know me through, we've institutionalized that information within the venue.
It's a great point, Jimmy, and I would say that, I don't know how old Amazon is. Do you know how old Amazon is?
20-something years.
Yeah. Like, if you think about the tech that Amazon used when it first launched and as it grew, and it started just from the books, just when it was books, and it's like, oh, Wil, you like this book? Hey, would you like that book? When that started happening, people are like, how did it know that I would like that book? And then you buy that book. You're like, I really like this book. How did Amazon know that I like this book? And then it started. I mean, that's the kind of stuff it's been around, but it's getting better and better and better and faster, right? And so to your point about the engagement, retail's been doing that, right? Yep. And now you start layering in all these different factors of getting to know you.
And I'll still say it has to be done with it. I'll say integrity, but if it's BS recommendations or people are now pushing things that don't click, well, then you're going to lose trust.
Yeah, vegetarian getting this steak.
Then you're going to lose the trust. But I think we used to get into taxis and taxi TV, and it would have an ad. What are the chances that ad is going to land favorably with any random person that jumps into that taxi? Right. The chance is remote, but the idea of personalization in general, I think, as long as it's done real. If they get to know you and they start to offer things, and you say, you know what, I like this engagement. It's helping me get smarter. It's helping me be more efficient with my time. I used to think it was creepy. It's like, I don't want them to know me. But now it's like, you know what? Know me if you're going to show me good stuff.
If you like if you like Starbucks or something, don't you want them to say and give you all these? I mean, you like it if you like Starbucks.
You do. It's a fine line, but yeah, I mean, we're getting more used to it as well. Let me ask you this: if you knew that tonight Jimmy is, Schatzy's behind the bar at Duke's. And you're probably going to get some free beers out of it.
Free beers.
Maybe you're going to get like Would that be useful? Like, would you want to know that? Ooh, Schatzy's working tonight. I'm going in.
So as a guest, the answer is certainly I would have a better experience because I like to engage with the staff. And I have my favorite folks, and if I know who's working, that would be important information for me. And I would probably shift some of my spend and my visits based on that piece of knowledge. As an owner, though, I would hate to all of a sudden that my restaurant's no longer valuable because now it's only when Schatzy's bartending they care. Because then it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. But I would tell you that growing up, I had my favorite members of the staff of places I'd go to. And if I showed up and they weren't there that night, I was disappointed because my experience was going to drop because of it.
And if you're bartending And you had the ability to let your regular
Communicate.
customers know
Oh, they
you're
do.
there tonight.
They do. In fact, I mean, our restaurants do it. I mean, the good captains, the good managers, GMs, the good staff that you have.
80-20.
I mean, it's not automated. I mean, I'm sure there are systems that automate this, but I mean, it's personal where we just got a wine in. That's a rare one. You only get, or we just got an allocated, some beverage, something really cool, and we let people know about that. Yeah, I mean, that still goes on. In fact, I know that we invest in LDV Hospitality.
Scarpetta, American Cut, Barlumi,
Dolce Vita, right.
Yep.
And John has a whole team of, I guess they're ambassadors. I don't know what you call them, guest experience ambassadors.
Yep.
And their job is to go to the restaurants, meet and schmooze with all the people that they see the data saying, Wil spends a lot of money, Wil comes. Now they put a face and a name and reel to it, and then they communicate, and then they touch, and now they start, hey, here's my number. Anytime you need a reservation, any other place, you just text me. You're done. Any of our restaurants. And then it goes both ways. And by the way, I know that you love, I'll text you. And yeah, it's if you can make that work, like that is perfect. Because now you're using the tech that gets you that information, and you're tying it to the human touch, which still, we're talking about expensive restaurants, like where we're talking about a $5,000 bottle of Screaming Eagle or something coming in, and I know Wil's going to just save it. I'll be in tomorrow. Thank you. And he'll buy that.
Yep. Right, but I mean, if there's a special, it was a certain pork dish was served, and I ordered it, and when it's back on the menu as a special, if they knew that I had it and enjoyed it, because again, they were touching the table, they were making sure they acknowledged it, they recorded that information, getting that note saying, "Hey, you enjoyed this. By the way, chef's making that again this week."
Yep.
What an incredible thing they've just done to alert me to something that I might like and be interested in. And it feels incredibly personal to me.
As a bartender, but if you had the ability to go hand-picked customers that you know are going to tip well, that you like, that you're regulars, and you could self-select them, right? Mm-hmm. And you could say, I'm working tonight.
The good waiters do that. They just don't. It's just not, generally speaking, it's not within company policy. So you don't usually see that happen, but the good waiters don't talk about it. They do it because they know
they get their regulars.
That they get the regular. Yeah. Something special's happening, and I know I'm getting a 30% tip or a 40%. Like I'm getting, that guy really is going to have a great time, and he's going to give me, in our group, it's not company policy, but I know the waiters do it. The managers, we do it as more of a policy. But, I don't think that we have the control for the waiters, but the good waiters certainly do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you got your fly socks. Look at that. Those things are popular as heck, man.
I'm ready.
Your kid will love those socks.
She's getting them.
I've got some on right now. Look at that.
There you go.
They are.
Schedule fly. Schedule fly.
They're good quality.
They are good quality.
They're like good. They're like squishy.
They are. All right. Is that a wrap?
As a wrap.
That was fun, guys.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, we got some good content.
Nice to have you here this week.
The freaking #1 podcast in the entire world. This is their studio. I'm at the epicenter of freaking greatness.
This should be your New York studio.
Yes.
Like you should just do and do like a couple episodes a year. Here
come on up
at the show. Not with us. Just
take it.
Bring some great. Come up here and then invite some great New York City guests.
I will do that. I have a traveling podcast kit, not the film, but the audio, professional quality. But I do it in restaurants.
Right.
When I'm in New York, this would be.
There we go.
This would be perfect.
I love it.
Come on, do you have a close? How do you close out your show?
I do not have a close for my show. We need to work on one.
Well, hold on. Say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie.
Love it. That's it, y'all.
Thank y'all.
I know. Here's my close. If you're listening to this or watching this, whatever you're watching or listening on, give us a rating. Give us a 5-star. Make a comment. We need ratings because the more ratings you have, the more Jeff Bezos and his algorithms and everybody else puts this in front of other people that want to hear this kind of content. So rating, comment, that's it.
Can't put a price on this kind of content.
Can't put a price on it. Rock on. Fly, schedule fly.